بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. عن أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم إن الله تعالى يقول ابن آدم تفرغ لعبادتي أملأ صدرك غنى وأسد فقرك وإن لا تفعل ملأت يدك شغلا ولم أسد فقرك. رواه أحمد وابن ماجه كذا في المشكات. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam has stated that Allah Ta'ala demands, O son of Adam, devote yourself to my worship, I shall make you feel contented and remove your poverty. But if you do not do so, I shall keep you busy with worldly engagements and will not remove your poverty. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam has stated that Allah Ta'ala demands, O son of Adam, devote yourself to my worship. I shall make you feel contented and remove your poverty. But if you do not do so, I shall keep you busy with worldly engagements and will not remove your poverty. There are many more hadith on the same subject. Imran ibn Hussein radiallahu anhu reported Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam is saying, he who reserves his devotion to Allah Ta'ala alone, making himself subservient to Him alone, Allah Ta'ala Himself fulfills all his needs and provides for him from such sources as he could never imagine. And he who makes the worldly gains his sole concern, Allah Ta'ala leaves him alone to deal with the world. Anas radiallahu anhu narrates that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam once said, a person whose sole concern is for worldly interests, undertakes journeys for the same, and remains preoccupied with it all the time, Allah Ta'ala always makes him fear the impending poverty and hunger. That is, he remains in constant worry, thinking his income to be too small to make both his ends meet. Thus, much of his time is wasted in such idle cares, because he can only get as much as has been decreed for him. And if someone concentrates on the hereafter, makes it the sole aim of his life, undertakes journeys for the same, and remains preoccupied with it all the time, Allah Ta'ala protects him from worldly cares, grants him self-sufficiency, and bestows upon him an unconcern about material things. That is, he is blessed with perfect peace in his life, and the world demeans itself before him. The world demeaning itself means that as everyone must inevitably get what has been ordained for him, his apportioned share comes to him of itself. We have already quoted a number of ahadith to the effect that a man's livelihood pursues him in the same way as his hour of death. It is bound to reach him under all circumstances, and if he receives it with an air of indifference, it would look as if the world is demeaning itself before a person who does not care for it. So this is one of the very important points that we should keep in mind, that our rizq has been destined for us. Whatever a person will get, it has been fixed. Allah has destined it from a long time ago. So a person cannot get more than what has been destined for, and he cannot get less. He will get exactly that amount. His job is to acquire it through halal means, through means which are permissible, which are recommended, and to save himself from those means which are impermissible. There's one story of Ali radiallahu anhu, that he asked someone to look after his riding animal while he was going to pray salat. So while he was praying salat, this person, he took some of his belongings and he went and he sold them. So Ali radiallahu anhu, while he was getting out, he was thinking that I will pay him for this. He gave me a service. I'll pay him for the service that he provided. I'll give him, I believe it was 2 dirhams. So when he came out, he saw that his piece of equipment was missing. So then he went in the market and so on, and he found it. He found it that it had been sold somewhere. And then when he asked that person that, where did you get this from? He said, yeah, someone just came, he sold it to me. He said, and how much did you give him for it? He said, I gave him 2 dirhams for it. So the amount was fixed. It was up, and it is always our test to make sure that we do things in the halal, in the correct manner. A person, he is presented with many means which are, you know, incorrect, impermissible, easy money, but not permissible. So a person who sticks to what is halal, it might seem like he's getting less, but in reality, he's not going to get any less. He will get what has been destined for him. And whatever might happen to come into someone's hands through impermissible means, well, he will only get what was destined for him. But what it will lack is barakah. It will lack barakah, it will lack blessings. So he'll find that his money runs by very quickly. And as the hadith is stating, he will keep on, he'll keep on looking, he'll keep on, fearing this impending poverty. Allah save us from that. In another hadith, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is reported to have said, "Whoever seeks what Allah Ta'ala has in store for him in the hereafter, living with nothing except the skies as a cover and using the ground as a bed, and having no anxiety for worldly things, will have food without having to till the land and get fruit to eat without having to plant a garden. He is the one who puts his trust in Allah Ta'ala and always struggles to win his pleasure. So Allah Ta'ala appoints the skies and the earth to procure him his livelihood. Never do they hesitate to bring him the sustenance. Never do they hesitate to bring him the sustenance he desires. In this way, he gets all his provisions without the fear of reckoning on the day of judgment." And this is the next very high level, that a person who decides to make such a, decides to come upon such a level, yeah, Allah will test a person. So there might be times of poverty, times of starvation for him, but the one who is sincere about this and sticks through with it, Allah will open up the ways for him eventually. But this is a very high level. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he would not push everyone to these extremely, these things of extremely high level of iman. He would tell the people according to their levels of iman what they need to do. For people like Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, we already discussed how he gave away all his wealth, all his belongings in the path of Allah. When Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam asked him, "What have you left?" He said, "What have you left for your family?" He said, "I have left Allah and His Rasul," meaning that he left absolutely nothing of the world. He only left Allah and His Rasul for them. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam accepted what he had presented. There was another Sahabi. He had one like an egg-sized piece of gold, and he said he kept on presenting, and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam would not accept it from him. So why the difference? Because of the levels of iman of the different types of people. That up front he might say, "Oh, I want to present this," but then once this is out of his hands, then he's going to start begging. He's going to start complaining. "All I had was this. I gave it, and now I'm in trouble, and this and that." And better that you didn't give it. Better that you gave something, and you remain contented with whatever Allah has, allotted for you, whatever conditions Allah has kept in store for you. Abu Bakr radiallahu, on the other hand, he gave, and he felt it was his honor to give away everything in the path of Allah, and it was his honor that it was accepted. And then the hardships which came along the way, as he took them, he took them patiently, took them with a smile on his face. So, yes, this is a very high level which is being mentioned here. And Allah's promise is true. Allah's promise is true. But Allah's system is that He will test. As big a claim we make, Allah will put those types of tests on us. Those who are steadfast in the tests, they will be promoted to those high levels. But if we're not at that level, then we try to slowly build ourselves up. According to another hadith, Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu is reported to have said, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam delivered a sermon in Masjid al-Khaif in Mina, in which he said, after praising Allah Ta'ala, Whoever makes this world his only concern, Allah Ta'ala causes his affairs to be disturbed with a variety of worries. He is all the time haunted by the fear of privation, and yet he cannot get more than his allotted portion of worldly goods. May Allah give us tawfiq to understand, put our trust in Allah as it ought to be put, and even if we're not going to be such people who rely, who have complete reliance and who seek out no means, rather let us be from those people who seek out halal means and who save ourselves from haram means and who give priority for akhirah over dunya. Even that is a big thing today because everyone is giving priority to dunya over akhirah. They're ready to sacrifice their salat at work because work should not suffer. They're ready to sacrifice this for deen, sacrifice deen for this, sacrifice deen for that. May Allah make us from amongst those people who figure out how to live both, fulfilling our obligations of deen, our obligations of dunya at the same time. But if really there is, you know, really there's a crossroads and we have to either go this way or that way, then we give preference to deen and we put dunya in second place. Allah give us all this tawfiq. Subhanallah wa bihamdihi, subhanakallah wa bihamdik. أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله.